ahead and got the metal. And Art's here visiting and he's helping where he can. This is 2 by 2 and 2 by 1, or 1.5 by 1.5, 1/8 aluminum, 6063 T5 I believe. And this is what we're going to be using to raise the roof. This is practice. Part of it's for practicing welding, other parts for raising the roof. As part of the roof raising prep, we got to get these lights off the top of the ambulance, mainly the ones I left up there to kind of keep the holes plugged up. And then we're going to come along and draw a line out and sand off all the paint along that line so we have a nice clean prepped metal surface for whenever we do the roof raise and we come back and weld the skin back on the side of the ambulance. Okay, so I'm starting to get the roof raise steps done. Why I'm making little slides, so this will weld to the inside of the frame in the ambulance. I'll cut it first and I'll weld this up there. I'll weld this on it, and this will help keep it aligned as I go up. So what I'm going to end up doing is, because I want to put some of this in between the frames, it's not quite a perfect fit, as you can see right there, but it's close enough to keep it relatively close to alignment as it goes up. I'll probably put a little grease on there too whenever I raise it up. But that will give me a slide mechanism for raising the roof. I gotta make 4 of these on all 4 corners. While I'm doing it, I'm getting good time practicing my welds on aluminum. They're ugly as can be, but they're better than they were before. So this one's really ugly, and there's a little pinhole there, a little pinhole there. So yeah, it's not perfect, but that's why these are kind of the practice pieces and more or less just alignment safety pieces. So the welds don't have to be perfect on these at all. But that's the first one I got done. I'm working on my second one here, and you kind of see the welds are getting better. I'm sure it's not going to pass any professional weld exam. This one's as ugly as it can be, but I just need it to be at work. So that's where I'm at. I'm just making it work. So I gotta do this one here. I need to weld on this little spacer here with that to help give it a little bit more, not as much space in between it. So you guys are going to get to watch why I weld crappy welds. Not crappy, I'm sure they'll hold. That's all that really matters right now. And I gotta take a stainless steel brush and clean. Then I gotta take acetone and clean. Then we'll start welding. Fun. Oh, and you guys are gonna get to watch. I have a shade thing here. Let's see. Wait, my screen. There, you can see it through there. So this should protect the lens just fine. As I get the next piece ready, this is the third alignment raising board, and these will be placed in about 4 corners inside the ambulance. The plan is to go pre-cut the frames where these are going to be before I weld it on, before I cut the rest of it. And the piece that I'm actually currently deburring now to help weld it better, the one likes it clean, and then when you get it clean, you gotta clean it again because it likes it really clean. they weren't kidding that aluminum is a pain to weld, especially to learn on. So I am still learning welding on aluminum, but sometimes a pig weld does good, but it still has to be clean because you got to get around the oxide layer on aluminum. Otherwise, you won't have a good even pig weld. So they're not going to be pretty, but they will work. But anyhow, this is the lower portion that goes on the bar that slides on. And these bars are going to be at least 5 foot long each, and that way I have enough space to lift it over height and then slide in my tubes that I'm going to put in for the space to raise it up and bring it back down on. So that is what's going on here. And actually, I don't think that's a slide nut. Nope, it's not a sliding one. That's actually the one for the top to hook to the wall. And talking about hooking up, they have to be clean. You have to clean it with a stainless steel brush, and only aluminum stainless steel brush, not for anything else. It has to be only used for aluminum. And it sounds a little obsessive about it, but aluminum is one of those obsessive materials that likes everything perfect in a non-perfect world. So I'm also going to spit on it. Not really. I smelled it to see if it smelled wet of acetone, and it does, and it needs to be cleaned and wiped with acetone. And my understanding is you got roughly 2 days after you get it really clean to weld it, otherwise you have to do this process all over again. Let me just say, aluminum is a challenge. And I don't know if I bit off more than I can chew here, but we're going to keep going forward because there's no other choice. Well, there is. I could hire someone to weld it, and I may still do that. I'm going to keep working on the welding. And we'll get this alignment roof raise done properly and securely. Also, there's going to be a couple spots in the frame where I actually have bolts holding it together with a insulating material between the bolt and the aluminum, so I don't have any galvanic corrosion in there. And after that weld and getting all 4 posts done, I've decided that I am going to try my skills at welding on the aluminum on the ambulance itself. I have some holes where the old cell phone antenna used to mount up there, and they have leaked profusely since I've owned it. So I figure I will crawl up there and weld those holes closed. However, it is on top of the ambulance, and I don't have long enough cables, so we're going to have to get kind of inventive about getting the welder up there to do the welding. And yes, I could do it from inside the cab, but this is funner. It's nerve-wracking, isn't it? I have to hook up the ground to the inside of the ambulance. I actually have to hook it up to a raw aluminum surface so it has good contact, and the best spot to have raw aluminum surfaces is on the inside of the ambulance where I have stripped the inside. They didn't paint any of the inside frames in there, which is good. So I need to clean my welding rod just like everything else. I am using 1/8 and 1/16 4043 filler rod. And the holes that I am fixing to fill up are coming up here in just a moment. Also keep a little bit of spare tungsten up there with me in case I dip it into the aluminum pool. And I have, and I did do it a lot. Here's the example of those holes that I'm going to fill in, and we'll see how successful I will be. Well, it's definitely not perfect. You can definitely see some surface cracks there. I had an easier time welding up the smaller holes versus the big hole. I actually had to cut it out 3 or 4 times before I got it to this point. At this point, I'm calling it a night. I'm too tired. It's dark and it's hard to see. But we'll go around, look at the inside, and see how it comes out. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let's see. You can see it here. Back side is kind of ugly. And you see light through certain spots. So I'm going to clean up this side and then we'll go up there and mess with it. We need a backing board closer to the thing, or a, what's it called? It's a big heat sink, basically. It keeps it from doing the drop down thing that it does here. So I might have to go buy me a big copper board for a backing plate to suck the heat out so it doesn't distort the rest of it. I'm going to sand this and see where I'm at here. Also need some way to get it up there and hold it in place with some pressure. I might cut me a board to do it, but for the most part, let's see if you guys can see. You see all those little holes everywhere. Sorry, the noise, it's really dark in here. Even for this camera, I'm impressed I can even see anything. But all those holes are going to have to be filled up too. So I'm definitely going to have a vacuum bar in here. And it rained a few days later, and it leaked like a sieve, so I got to rework on some of my welding. So back to more practice welding. Anyhow, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell.